Hey, it's Brandon, running for federal Congress in Florida's 12th District. Your no party affiliated or independent candidate. Just want to come on and talk about some comments I've been getting regarding, being an outsider in the race, being a candidate looking to take votes away from certain people, or throwing a wrench in, or just being in the race for the purpose of diverting votes. And I want to fully address this as not true, not my intention. My intention is to run and to win, of course. I'm not here to serve, to allow someone to win and take votes away from someone else. Like, I am a valid candidate. I am here trying to win your vote. I think this election is more than about turning the color of the seat to a blue or maintaining the color of the seat as a red just in principle. I think we need to be looking at the people and not just the party, and policies, not just the party. I think most people can agree that the establishment parties are the issue. Some people see both sides. I hear the sentiment of, two wings of the same bird, which I kind of agree with there. It's both sides, both establishment parties. Um, Now, clearly, there are some bad actors on both sides. This administration is highlighted extremely because they're in power, and I am not excusing that. I am not saying that's okay or trying to equate that with something on the Democratic side. I am saying that, the establishment power currently is very bad and doing awful things. The establishment Democratic Party also takes money from corporations and is also not looking out for the best interests of the people, in my opinion. There are some in my district who agree that the establishment parties are the issue, but not their party. So, Republican might say, yeah, the establishment is bad and it's all these Democrats, or the Democrats might say, yes, the establishment is bad, it's all these Republicans. I think we need to understand that there are bad actors on both sides of the aisle. They both accept super PAC money. They both take trips to Israel and accept APAC money. They both participate in corporate bailouts. And it's time that we put the focus back on the working class. Another thing I've heard is, why don't you run locally? Why don't you run for the state? And I did consider that. That would be great. But the honestly, the annual salary is not sufficient to it's not sufficient to uh for my family to live. Honestly, it's 29,000 part time, and I'm sure that some politicians have uh, kickbacks or special handshakes or successful realtor careers that help them, make up the difference. But I do not have those things. I am a working class husband and father, currently working in healthcare, and I don't have the luxury of having a successful business to back me up, or handshakes, secret deals. I don't want to make those. I want to be a different candidate. So that leads me to the federal level, which the salary is much higher than 29,000. I don't remember the exact number, but in my opinion, it's probably pretty, too high. Do I think that I'll be able to cut the salary? Probably not, but I'm certainly not going to be advocating for an increase in salary. I can promise you that. I think it would be extremely hard for me to get everyone on board with cutting the pay and the benefits of congressional members. Something I would pursue if I had support, but I don't find that realistic. What I do find realistic is advocating for term limits, something that both parties have said time and time again, and yet we're still here talking about term limits. We need to establish term limits. If that means we need to make an amendment in the Constitution, then heck, let's do it. We've made them before. We can do it now. Another thing is uncapping the House of Representatives. We've had 435 members since 1929, when we used to grow with population size. We need to continue to do that. And the reason is there is not proportional population, proportional representation, meaning around that time, one representative represented around 300,000. Now, one representative represents about 700,000. It's a big difference. And if you're the best representative in the world, there's no way you can address all your constituents or their needs or represent every person in your district or the majority even. Just there's too many people you're trying to represent. So we need to focus on that as well. Campaign transparency, for sure. I would love to overturn Citizens United. I don't think overturning a Supreme Court ruling will be easy. I think for the time being, the best route is to advocate for transparency and passing laws to enforce that and encouraging states to do that as well. And we need to protect our future. Uh, that's the education system, the public education system. We need to strengthen, ensure that there is funding, adequate funding. The Department of Education stays, you know, running. There was a time when there was talk about cutting that. That needs to stay running. We need to focus on public education rather than taking the focus to voucher programs or public and private sectors. All kids should have a chance at a uh, quality education, and that's what public education should be. It should be accessible to all and provide a quality education. And teachers should be supported, and student staff should be safe. I will pursue those things in office. And we need to be proactive, not just reactive. Certainly, we need to hold those responsible for their bad actions who are currently in office. But that also means we need to pass these laws like term limits and campaign transparency so that future elections are more transparent and we can prevent future bad actors from participating in the things that they are now, advocating for the 1% and corporations and corporate interests and foreign interests. We need to be focusing on American interests, as in the working class interest. And that working class, when I say that, that means everyone. I'm not trying to exclude anyone or signal anything with that. Working class to me is people who work, no matter your race, your gender identity. The one thing that we can all unite against or for is that we are workers, or trying to be, and those in power tend to want to focus on profit, which is kind of how the system has been set up. And the responsibility of lawmakers is to ensure that we are more balanced so that we do have an opportunity to own a home and not have to compete with corporations who buy up entire blocks and then rent them out. So, again, I just wanted to address the fact that I am a valid candidate. You don't see a lot from me because the news chooses not to cover me, not by my lack of trying. I've tried to contact numerous news organizations, blogs, podcasts, various people, just to try to get my platform out there to discuss the independent voting block that is in Pasco County. There's more independents, third parties, or no party affiliated residents registered than there are Democrats. That's another thing. Um, I don't think that a Democrat will win easily in this county, and they should be considering more than just party lines. Um, when I started, surprisingly, Republicans were more welcoming to me than Democrats were, which I anticipated Democrats to be more welcoming. That was just my previous perception. And Democratic candidates, certainly in my experience, have been. They're the candidates who have been willing to speak with me and shake my hand and talk with me, where I haven't had that opportunity a lot with Republican candidates. But I will say that Republican groups have been more willing to talk with me or exchange emails or just discuss things than the Democratic groups, where they flat out refuse to discuss me or try to encourage me to join the Democratic Party. And first of all, that's not something I can do. I'm running for Congress. I'm a candidate. I can't just be switching my party. I've heard that from Republicans as well. When I support Matt the Welder, who is state agriculture candidate, they tell me that I should switch parties to Republicans so I can vote for him and make sure he passes through the primaries. I can't do that. I'm a candidate running for office, and I think that we should be advocating for a open state rather than a closed state primary, so that uh, no party affiliated and independent constituents can participate without having to change their party back and forth. And those are just some thoughts I've been having today. I'm here. I'm valid. I've submitted my qualifying documents, and you will see more of me. Like I said in a post, I am a working class father, so I won't be able to make all of the campaign opportunities, events that some of my other competitors may be able to. I also have a family, so sometimes my family is going to come above campaign activities or events, meaning I won't be able to make every event because I have those prior commitments to my family or to my job. But I will be out when I can, and I encourage you to stop by any event I am at to get to know me, to hear me out, hear my policies. Prior to the districts changing, I spent a lot of time in Hernando at various community events. Now in Pasco, I'm going around to a couple of libraries, hosting some meet and greets. So I've been out there, I am here, and I hope to earn your vote. Thanks for listening again. Branden Scrivener, running for federal Congress in Florida's 12th district. Thanks.